It was the location. It was, as soon as I saw it and saw the views, I was sold. And the fact that it had a building that was the right footprint, the right, going to give us the right accommodation that we could repurpose rather than build sort of from scratch. It was the perfect solution for us, really. And just finding a plot was difficult in that a lot of them were infill plots, and we wouldn't have been able to achieve the look of the building that we would have, we would have been too sort of constrained by planning. Whereas here, I think our design works with the location because it's in a rural area. So we've sort of tried to make the building fit more within that, and the planners actually did love the design concept that we had for it. So the building originally was a hydrotherapy centre for dogs, really, and animals, and it had stables and kennels. Internally, it had a huge swimming pool. And so the main part of the works was to get structural engineers on board. The building was structurally fine, we just needed to fill the pool to create the floor space. And once that was done, the rest of it was cutting window door openings that weren't in the building, and then creating the space internally by building structural walls. And we did have to build structural walls because we needed to cut the Rooflight in, so that was already factored in from the beginning. So the walls are built, block built, and then there's a steel structure above to hold the Rooflight, because it's quite a significant Rooflight on the top of a flat roof. So that was the main sort of structural changes. To create the space that we've got internally. So the style internally and externally is minimal, Scandi inspired, and just really neutral interiors with loads of texture. And same outside, we've used a mix of materials with timber and metal, and timber again on our deck and things. So just to be as sort of natural and fitting in the environment, and with the external and then inside. I just love clean lines, minimal, neutral, monochrome. Is just my signature, really. It's my go-to, and I'm really comfortable in my style. So we couldn't extend the footprint. That was an original planning constraint. So we had to work with the original footprint. So even if we did knock the building down, we could only rebuild this same footprint. And the space available to do it wouldn't have been any different. So we had the building checked and it was structurally sound. So we just worked with what we'd got. And then I worked with our architect, Jackson Crane Architecture, and he helped me. We worked at different options on floor plans. And my non-negotiables were had to be open plan, had to be light and airy. And so I went for the rooms that we needed, which was 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in a large open plan area, as opposed to having more bedrooms, more bathrooms, because that worked for our living, and I think it's created the better space. So I think when I've been researching roof lights, I'd seen a lot that were like roof lanterns, and then various different types of them that were openers, not openers, a lot of things that were just online. And I think it was quite a sort of concern for me buying such, a big bit of kit from an online company. So with Roofmaker, I think that was my initial sort of contact. I can't remember the name of the lady, but she was really, really helpful, really informative, and she was local. So I felt more confident, with my decision in that I wasn't just buying from a random company online. And the style, as soon as I'd ordered my windows, I realised I wanted the roof lights to look very similar, very minimal. The ones from Roofmaker were the only ones that I could find to fit the remit. So I was really, pleased with the decision and how simple clean lines they are. So I went for the fixed flat because we've got a flat roof. It's a mansard roof. It's quite high up inside from inside. So I don't think that we needed or would have had any benefit from an opener. And I didn't want the roof light itself to be a feature. I just wanted the light from it. And I think we've achieved that, and it looks really clean minimal lines, which is what we wanted to achieve. But it just gives us that feeling of light. Even in the darkest of gloomy days, it's actually quite light in that space. And that was the perfect solution, the Lux light on the bathroom, because obviously it was on a slant. And again, I didn't want the roof light to be a feature in the room. I just wanted the room to be flooded with light. So we just sort of positioned the light in that room so that when you were actually in the shower, you could actually look up and see the clouds going overhead, or even on a really moonlit night, you can actually if there's no light on in there, you can actually still see out and see the stars. With Roofmaker, I was sort of scouring with my architect, looking for sort of recommendations. All of the window companies that we seem to come across, they seem to offer the standard roof lantern that wasn't going to work for us. And again, there's lots of roof lights that you can buy just online, and I didn't feel confident to do that. I just think it's too much of a significant purchase. So the fact that they were local, and from my initial enquiries, I liked the quality of customer service and the information, and the fact that even the people answering the phone were knowledgeable about the product. So that was my reason for choosing Roofmaker. So my experience with Roofmaker was good from start to finish, really. And even when we placed the order, there was an issue. Again, we built through COVID times, and there was glass issues, a lot of issues with glass, and we had the same with our glazing company. I didn't have to chase, they kept me informed every step of the way, and they did really liaise with us very well, because obviously we've got cranes, we've got teams of people. Installing a roof light's not a small undertaking, so it's not something that you would want to hinder the build on the day. You've got cranes, you've got men on site, and so the staff and the communication were brilliant, and the fact that it was delivered by their own drivers and offloaded and checked by them actually gave me, I was really, really impressed with the service, so hence my recommendation. I don't think I was surprised, really. I think the moment when I realised what I was going to gain from having the roof lights installed was when the structure was there and built, but they were covered over with tarpaulins. And on install day, when they actually took the tarpaulins down, I was like, oh my life, it was just like somebody had put every single light on in the building. So then once they were physically in place, it was just like, yeah, that's permanent now. So I think for me, there was no surprise apart from until the tarpaulin came on. Even myself, I was surprised at how much light we gained from having them installed. The project for us was planning, getting services, liaising. I think COVID, lots of self-builds and people that were building through COVID had similar problems. And so sometimes, literally you couldn't communicate, you couldn't be on site. And so, yeah, they were our most challenging, and that coupled with the hike in prices of materials and labour. So I'd say that was, the most challenging. It still is. There's still lots, to finish off. But I think the challenges, you do forget them. You do forget the pain. And my philosophy is keep your eye on the prize, and then you will get that it is worth it moment. And I do feel like it was worth it. think if anyone's going to take on a project, I think with the advent of social media, everybody now thinks that, oh, I could do that, I could do this. And you know, I think with the right people, right architects, right builders, with the, you know, people with experience, you will achieve it. But I think there are lots of you know, builders, like, you know, one-man bands out there that will promise the earth. But there's a lot to go into it. There's a lot that you do have to comply with building regulations and planning and lots of things. You can't just have what you sort of, you know, you have to work with these people. And I think having a planning consultant, a planning, you know, somebody that's experienced with the planners in your location is like paramount.